Hello. Hello, this is the My Artifact episode number 3000, probably uh, 3828, 32 maybe. I'm not really sure regarding about the number. Okay, yeah, something like that. Today's date is January 22, 2026. It's been almost like a morning at 9:25 p.m. Sorry, AM, 9:25 AM. It's morning actually. It's 9:25 AM. All right. So should we jump into the question? All right, let's go. All right, yeah. The question is, who is the single type of person I want to help, and why do I care about them? Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, yeah. First of all, what exactly is this question, and why am I asking this kind of a question? Okay, this is a kind of like a something like a YouTube related question. Okay, YouTube related means what? Kind of like a something that key YouTube realization. If I kind of like a something consider myself that I am a YouTuber, then I should supposed to be ask these kind of like a question to myself, so that I would understand myself that am I that particular person or not. One thing. Another thing is that I also understand that what is exactly YouTube means what. Okay, yeah. It's far more easier to consider yourself as a kind of like a YouTuber, but when you are into that particular process, you understand that key how like a big thing was that. Asking this kind of like a question kind of like give me a realization regarding about am I be worthy enough to call myself as a YouTuber or not, probably. So these kind of like some question is about, these are kind of like some realization is actually about. Now basically this question says this thing that key basically is this thing, who is a single type of person I want to help, and why do I care about that particular person. Okay, first of all, is any one person that I want to help? Well, probably is this thing na ki, like let me tell you one thing. Okay, yeah. If I am kind of like a creating a content, I am kind of like a creating content. So basically, is this thing na ki at the beginning I was not kind of like a somebody creating content for somebody, or I am not creating any content for someone to help or things like that. Okay, there is a two perspective. I'm gonna tell you the creator point of perspective. I'm gonna tell you viewer point of perspective later, but I'm gonna tell you first of all creator point of perspective. Okay, so as a creator point of perspective, do I want to help other? But it's a kind of like a thing now. How do I supposed to help other? Okay, yeah, I want to make a video. I want to make a YouTube video, and yeah, that's it. Like basically this thing na ki it's not only that ki I'm kind of like a somebody providing any kind of like a help or things and that and that. It's not. It's just not, because it's just like that na ki I have some sort of creativity inside of me, and YouTube are kind of like a somebody giving me that opportunity or freedom to kind of like express my creativity in front of the people and things like that. I am touched wood, by the way, and I'm feel really good, and that's it. It's just like that. I don't really like I'm not really kind of like a doing something for helping somebody and things like that. So this is a just creator point of perspective. Now I'm gonna tell you the viewer point of perspective. Okay, so viewer, I also kind of like I also watch the YouTube videos too, and basically it's this thing, when I watch the YouTube videos, let's just say I watch the Nitish Rajput video. Okay, yeah. So Nitish Rajput video is a kind of like a regarding about the kind of like a somebody geopolitics, kind of like a history, kind of like a somebody the way that he present his content in a such a way that it's really good. Okay, yeah. When I watch his video, I kind of like understand more about that particular thing. Couple of months ago, there is a kind of like a somebody attack is actually happened in India, Pahalgam attack. Okay, like you just kind of like Google about it. Is a Pakistan terrorist kind of like a came to India and attack almost like a 26 people. Pahalgam is a kind of like a district in Kashmir, and they attack. Okay, yeah. Now, basically, is this thing na ki this actually happened. Um, Everywhere news is actually flash that ki Pakistan terrorist attack actually happened, and this and that and that and that and that. Okay, yeah. Every news channel kind of like somebody present in a such a way that it just feel like complex. It just feel like that key, like basically it does not telling the what exactly why is actually happened, things actually happen, who are those people and things and that and that and that. Okay, yeah. And like basically I want to know any kind of like information, but the news media is kind of like somebody teaching us such a way that it kind of like feels like that creating hatred or things like that. Like basically is this thing, every action has its own reason too. Okay, yeah, but news media kind of like somebody present in a such a way that like very wrong. Okay, yeah, like a kind of like somebody add something really hateful inside of it, that ki we've been attacked and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. But Nitish Rajput videos are kind of like in such a way that I just understand. Like basically, is this thing what exactly happened? Pahalgam attack was actually happened. The news actually flash and things. I don't really understand anything. I just only one thing I understand, that ki attack is actually happened. And I like, yeah, that's it. I want to know, but I can't know because the way that they present the information in a such a unstructured way that it doesn't kind of like somebody just it doesn't kind of like somebody cater me that much. Okay, yeah. But when I watched a Nitish Rajput video, it felt like everything, every dots is actually connected. Like who are those people, where are they came from, what are their intention, how they did it, with the practical evidence, with the kind of like a document, with the kind of like a something, everything. And when I watch the video, I just feel like that, oh my god, so this is what actually happened in the Pahalgam attack, and this is what things actually happen. And it just kind of like a feels that na ki, like this is kind of like a somebody add something really value inside of me. Like basically this is kind of like a Nitish Rajput is kind of like a somebody help me to understand the kind of like a complex subject in a kind of like a somebody such a way that it just kind of like is understandable. Like basically right now trade war is actually happened between between the US and China and things like that. Donald Trump is kind of like putting the trade to the entire world, things and that. There is a lot of kind of like economic things, and the subject is kind of like a bit more confusing regarding about every possible perspective. But the Nitish Rajput, as well as kind of like there are a couple of YouTuber, Think School, also kind of like somebody execute that particular complex subject in a such a way that it just like it is like really good. It just felt like that ki, wow, like I understand more about this thing. Same thing with the Dhruv Rathi, same thing with the Gaurav Thakur. These are kind of like a couple of creators that I watch. It kind of like add something value inside of me. Okay, yeah. So basically their content creation is a kind of like a somebody add something really value in mind. They kind of like a help me to know about that particular subject or things and that. And it does like basically it's this thing. I am kind of like a somebody doing this Photoshop, I am doing this graphic designing, is because of that key. Not only I just love that particular stuff, but as well as kind of like a somebody the YouTuber, the tutorial, like specifically the GFX mentor. He's also kind of like somebody the like a basically Photoshop expert. I watch his video, I watch his kind of like a somebody tutorial regarding about Photoshop and things and that. I watch, I learn, I practice, and that's why I'm kind of like doing it. Like basically is this thing, they share their expertise on the social media platform, and like me, we are kind of like a learn all those things by free without any charge and things like that, and implement those kind of like a something creativity in our field to kind of like a create something new and things like that. So somewhat something they kind of like help me to kind of like a somebody the person that I'm became today, right? Yeah. So yes, it is like a basically as a creator point of perspective, creator just want to express his a kind of like a creativity, or express his freedom, or express the things that he just would love to do and things and that. But as a viewer who actually watch, they kind of like gain something of value, sometimes entertainment value, sometimes educational value, sometimes like a inspirational value and things and that. And it is like a like I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing, but yeah, it felt really good. Okay, yeah. So basically I have to be asked this question to myself. Okay, yeah. I am also a YouTuber. Okay, yeah. I don't really have that much amount of subscriber and things and that. But I should supposed to be asked this question to myself. Okay, yeah. That key, if I creating the content, if I'm kind of like making any kind of like a content, is this kind of like a only content, or is this kind of like a only video is kind of like a help somebody or not? Okay, yeah. So I was kind of like a thinking about that. Now what I realize, okay, so my content is about the graphic designing, Photoshop, photography, kind of like related about that stuff. Usually my focus on visual storytelling. Okay, I wanted to kind of like a somebody kind of like a present a visual storytelling regarding about how do I supposed to do this thing. Okay, visual storytelling is also art form, by the way, in a graphic designing and things like that, and that I will not gonna talk about that particular stuff. It's become very longer thing. Okay, so this is my kind of like my content, and I seen that thing that key this piece of content is kind of like a is not available on the internet, nothing at all. Okay, yeah. And I kind of like a thing that key I could able to do this thing. It's not really that key I don't really like it, I love it. Okay, yeah, it felt really good, it is really good. It kind of like gives me a freedom to kind of like a think and that. So yes, I'm kind of like executing this kind of like a some visual storytelling. Okay, yeah, by kind of like assembling my content and things like that. Okay, yeah. Now, does people help, like does people get help from my content? I am not really sure. Why is that? Because I don't really have that much amount of kind of like a something subscriber base or things and that. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing now, ki you can achieve by this thing, like basically a viewer can be feel really grateful when they kind of like get something value from my content. Okay, yeah. And obviously I have very less number of those people. Okay, probably I have almost like a 1600 something subscriber on YouTube, and Instagram is a like I didn't really count the Instagram that much. Why is that? Because like like you shouldn't supposed to be say this thing that Instagram people are not like a whatever. But is this thing what I'm saying is that na, Instagram is a kind of like a somebody. Yeah, I do have little bit kind of like a some people who are on the Instagram and things like that. They are also kind of like a love my work and things like that. I'm kind of like adding something value in their life from my content creation. So yeah, it is really good, it is really great. Okay, yeah. And yeah, but who is exactly, who do you want to help? Like basically what exactly is this thing, what kind of like assembly the people that you are targeting and things and that. Okay, it's not a kind of like some things that ki no one can do this thing. Okay, it's a kind of like a thing that na ki I don't know how do I supposed to explain this particular stuff. Okay, let me give you the context. Okay, yeah. If I'm gonna say I am teaching a kind of like some economics. Okay, yeah. So probably I am actually adding something value to the such a people who are kind of like love to know about economics and love to know about this and that. Okay, yeah. Because I am kind of like a really good in economics and things and that. That's why I'm kind of like explaining this stuff. People are kind of like getting value from my piece of content and things and that. Now it's kind of like a very easy concept and things like that, because economics is a kind of like some economics is a kind of like some subject. It kind of like meant to know something and meant to add something value inside of me, inside of the people and things like that. Now visual storytelling is a kind of like a some very new art form. Like I like a maybe is this thing that this art form is not actually exist, or maybe it actually exists in just meme format. Okay, a meme like have you seen the meme? Like there is a kind of like a trend is actually happened on the meme. Okay, yeah. Meme is also kind of like a visual storytelling. Okay, yeah. That there is a kind of like only one photo or one poster kind of like tell us regarding about you, regarding about your environment and things like that. It kind of like a deep connect inside of. Okay, yeah. So meme is also kind of like a visual storyboard. Okay, yeah. But a meme is a kind of like a somebody is this thing that it's not professional. It's a kind of like the meme creator, the people who actually create the meme, they make sure that their meme should supposed to be kind of like a somebody low quality, or kind of like a somebody that like a low budget or things and that. Why is that? Because it kind of like determine the quality of that thing. Like basically meme shouldn't supposed to be high quality and things and that. It's a visual storyboard, but it shouldn't supposed to be that much like a profession. It's not that much professional. You look it, you kind of like a laugh it kind of like a connect with it and that. Okay, meme is also visual storytelling. Okay, yeah. I also like, that's why I'm kind of like creating this. Like most of my inspiration actually came from the meme, because meme are kind of like a really good visual storytelling and things and that. Okay, my visual storytelling is a kind of like executing my piece of content in a vertical video short form content. Okay, yeah, that key I kind of like a take photo of myself, edit that photo in the Photoshop. Okay, yeah, and people will know that key how I make that particular photo in the Photoshop, and after I make that particular photo or particular graphics, that particular graphics is kind of like a somebody hit people in a something that key, okay, this is kind of like a something that visual storytelling, it's like it is that. Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing na ki like a basically there is a like a basically there is a particular person who's kind of like a doing thing, and the people are get really curious about what that particular person doing thing. But when the final product, when the final graphics actually came in front of them, it kind of like hit them very hard that, oh, this is actually like this graphics is actually about that, and this is what it is, this is what my piece of content and things and that. Now, does it kind of like add value to the people? Yes, from visual point of perspective, yes, it kind of like add value, but probably is this thing that not in the education point of perspective. Like basically I'm using Photoshop and things like that, but it's not a tutorial. Okay, because when I say tutorial, then it shouldn't supposed to be a kind of like a something short form, it should supposed to be long form, because in the long form I would kind of like explain that key you have to click there, click there, click there, click there. No, I'm kind of like a somebody telling the like a, in short form at fastest way that it should supposed to be get, and kind of like a get that thing. Okay, yeah. I try to upload the tutorial. Okay, yeah, but it's like that na ki every tutorial is a kind of like a somewhat something same. Okay, yeah, like basically it's this thing na ki graphic designing is not a kind of like a some technicality that you have to use this button and this button and this button, this button. It's a kind of like a things that na ki you have to look that ki perspective. Okay, yeah. Graphic designing is a kind of like a somebody is this thing, it's a creativity, and creativity you can't teach creativity. Okay, yeah, because it's a kind of like a thing that na, it's a way that you look at the world. Like basically I see the world from my point of perspective and things and that, and I visualize that thing because I imagine things very quickly, and because of my imagination, I'm kind of like somebody creating this content to visualization to kind of like a people understand and things and that. Okay, yeah. And basically this thing, what am I teaching is a creativity. Okay, instead of Photoshop tutorial, because there is no specific thing that I'm kind of like doing in a Photoshop tutorial, nothing really at all. I'm just kind of like putting here this here is one of the kind of like a very worst, like I am not that much Photoshop expert and things and that. I just kind of like somebody use Photoshop to execute my idea, and that's it, nothing really at all. Okay, so this is what I kind of like do this thing. Does it kind of like add value to the people? It will be not today, but it will be. Some people will gonna understand things and that. Okay, yeah, but at the moment I'm kind of like a bit more focused on kind of like a somebody the I will get the freedom to kind of like a somebody express my things and that. Okay, yeah. So the question is that ki, am I kind of like a helping anyone from my YouTube content creation? Probably yes, probably no, probably might be, I'm not really sure about that thing, because is this thing na ki how do I supposed to judge my content? Because if I judge my content, obviously I would consider myself it is always be good, always be great and things and that. Now why is that I cannot able to be judge my content? Is because of that na ki you need a kind of like a fresh mindset to judge your content. Okay, yeah, it's like that you just kind of like make the content and you feel really good and things and that. It's my perspective to kind of like make my content like as good as possible as it can, but probably is this thing now people will kind of like judge it, people will kind of like look at it, and people will have kind of like tell us that it's kind of like really good and not or not. And I kind of like get that thing, people are kind of like telling me that your content is really good and really good. So I think that now yes, I am kind of like adding value to the people in this particular way. So it is, yes, it is, yeah, I'm kind of like somewhat something helping them throughout my content creation, probably. Okay, yeah. And why am I doing this thing is I don't really have any kind of like a proper reason that why am I doing this thing. It's not really intentionally that I am kind of like intentionally helping them to kind of like things. As I mentioned, there's a creativity that I have, and YouTube is kind of like letting me to express my creativity in things and that. Okay, yeah. And basically is this thing, this is why I'm kind of like doing this thing. People are kind of like getting value from my content, it is good and things and that. Yeah. Okay, so this is the kind of like a question. It's a kind of like a really good realization regarding about this thing. I think that now every YouTuber should supposed to be asked this kind of like a question to herself, but still it's yeah, whatever. This is it. Thank you.